This is TWiT.
This is really interesting. This is from The Guardian. Google says AI systems should be able to mine publishers' works unless they opt out. In other words, it's on the publisher and the writer.
It's robots.txt. It's
opt
Google's present systems mine publishers' content unless they opt out with robots.txt. Exactly the same.
This is a response to people like Sarah Silverman who are suing artists like Thomas Kincaid who are upset that, or Greg Witkowski.
Thomas Kincaid isn't alive, is he?
No, he's not upset. He's dead.
His estate.
Yeah.
His estate.
Actually, it's Greg Witkowski, the fine artist Greg Witkowski.
I mean, who would want to steal Thomas Kincaid's stuff? Jeez.
And AI.
Come on, Jeff. We know there are a lot of people that stuff.
Come on, everybody's not as bougie as you, Mr. Jarvis.
No, I think the painter of light is bougie. Actually, Jeff is elitist.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. As bougie approved, Thomas Kincaid is not Stacey bougie approved. I'm just
I know this. I know this.
No. I can't imagine that hanging over the couch. No, Stacey.
Yeah. It hangs over my parents' couch.
Does it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the bougie doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm just saying.
Well, my equivalent, Stacey, is my father-in-law used to actually go to the Starving Artist art sales.
Oh. Well, they were starving. Yeah. He just wanted to help.
Okay, but wait. So going back to Google for a second, because Google can't say, I mean, the issue here is Google's like, yeah, you got to opt out. But we literally just invented this. So we've got to give people the notice that they can opt out. I don't think this illegitimizes, that is not a word, those lawsuits. I think we can say, hey, okay, how are we going to handle this? And then, so Google's kind of victim blaming here, I feel.
So in a submission to the Australian government's, there's a big difference between Austria and Australia, just an L.
I thought so.
Between the Australian government's review of the regulatory framework around AI, Google said in this submission, copyright law should be altered to allow for generative AI systems to scrape the internet. This is from The Guardian. The company has called for Australian policymakers to promote, quote, copyright systems that enable appropriate and fair use of copyrighted content to enable the training of AI models in Australia on a broad and diverse range of data while supporting workable opt-outs for entities that prefer their data not to be trained using AI systems. And this is both OpenAI and Google have proposed the use of robots.txt. That's a text file, that's a text file right now that sits in the root directory of every website that says whether Google or other search engines can scan your material. It's voluntary. It's like a do not track. It's voluntary on Google's part, but they honor it. Mm-hmm. So I have a website. I have a robots.txt. If you're worried about the bandwidth, for instance, that somebody is scraping up, you can put them in there and block them or allow them only parts of the site and so forth. They're proposing something like that for AI. I think that's exactly right. There is a benefit.
There's. All right, you go first, Stacey. Then I'll do my yes, but.
Okay, I was just going to say, I don't know that opt-out is the right tool to use in this case. I certainly don't. I mean, if that is going to be the way we do it, then we have to standardize it and put it into every browser and everywhere that something might be published, because things get cut and paste from the web all the time. So my stuff, if I've opted out on my site, my stuff gets stolen all the time and is then somewhere else, and I can't control that. So I feel like you should really, the best and most responsible way to do this is to do data repositories, incentivize people to stick their stuff in for training. That is the most ethical way to do it. Google's saying opt out because that benefits them, and that makes sense. But we don't have to build an entire society just to benefit Google and the big tech guys.
All right, now can I do my yes, but?
Yes.
No, but. So, one, I think that in the long run, and this is a guess, the courts will decide that this is fair use and transformative use. That I can read a book and be inspired by it. If I make a movie about Tetris and I steal whole pieces, no. But if I say, oh, I'm going to write a book about technology and I got inspired by game people because I read a bunch of books about gamers, that's my perfect right to do. That's how the arts work, right? And I think the machine should have the same right. The second issue that I have is, and there is an obvious question there. Did you buy the book? How did you get to the book? How did you read the book? Right? That's an issue. But I can go to a library and I can read the book for free and I can be inspired by that. The second point is, if we shut down everything, then the only thing that's going to be available to scrape are the worst of society. And so there's a larger question about these things are going to be out there. They're going to be used. They're going to be, even when they're used responsibly on other corpi of data, then society does want them to be used.
That's corpora, Mr. Jarvis. Just wanted to correct you on that. It's corpora.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I woke you up.
I'll go back to sleep. No, well, in fact, that's exactly what the Guardian article says. Copyright experts say that's a flipping the copyright law on its head, that you have permission until somebody says no.
I think that's wrong. That's what a lot of people said in mind, that they're not flipping copyright on their head. That's the only thing. I don't think it does that at all.
Well, here's my question though. Isn't there a society? So copyright is all about protecting society's interest. It's protecting the.
Actually,
no. Where did you get that from?
Well, okay.
It creates a marketplace.
I got that from the founders. That's the original premise of
no statute of ban. Gutenberg parenthesis book. I have a chapter about that right here. When the statute of ban was passed, it was at the assistance of the booksellers, the stationers, and the publishers who wanted a tradable marketplace for tradable assets. So the author started with the asset, but the point was the author could sell the assets, so that then there became a marketplace so that publishers could trade them, sell them, control them, buy shares in them. It was all about that marketplace of the farther down the chain. Just for the record.
Well,
but go ahead.
Here's what I would say. There are two parties, right? There is the person who created the content, whether it's a patent or a copyright or a trademark. There's a person who created it and currently owns it. And then there's the greater interest of society. If all you were doing was protecting the owner's rights, you'd just be in perpetuity. No, they created it, they invented it, they own it forever. But the copyright and patent systems both have expiration dates, and the purpose of that is to make sure that after the original creator is able to recoup his expenses and make a reasonable profit on that, then society benefits from that invention or that work and can use it then subsequently without license fee or charge.
150 years later, right?
Well, and the original patent was shorter, and the original copyright was a lot shorter. And over time, I think the pendulum has swung in the favor of way too strongly in favor of copyright holders to be.
The copyright holder is not the creator anymore. The copyright holder is Disney.
Well, there's a variety of other things that happen in the medium, but really it swung the wrong way, and it was life plus 1,000 or whatever. I mean, they're pushing it as long as they can. In fact, society does have somewhat of an interest in patents expiring and copyrights expiring. That's how you could create Disney's movies, because they had access to Grimm's fairy tales without license. It was Disney who then said, "But now I own Cinderella." So I think in that light, there is a societal interest in letting AI use stuff because it makes AIs better. We wouldn't have AI if you couldn't scrape this stuff. So I think
you could, but based on the amount of money. So AI is something that you could eventually make money off of. You build these tools, you build these algorithms, and then you can sell that to people, right? So why not create an incentive structure to get people to donate their data, or so pay me for access to my site. Say,
I'll tell you why.
You are such a
because you can't afford the whole.
Such a small fraction of the total would be available. It'd be like saying
terribly.
It would be like saying to book authors, "Hey, anybody want a permanent copyright? Me. Anybody want to allow stuff to go into the public domain after 10 years after you die? No. Maybe a few people, whatever. Some people
put up all its crap for that purpose, but
I would put up all my crap because I've already figured out this also means we change the way we monetize content. And Jeff, you're a big fan of this. So think about what kind of infrastructure and value you might have for a true expert to create content and donate it to a site to become part of their AI. And maybe it's after 5 years. Maybe it's after 1 year. I don't know.
But let's look though, Stacey, at what the model training is. Just learning the structure of how to do it. And that doesn't actually, if they do it right, that doesn't really use the content so much as
there's tons of public works that are already available that could teach you how to speak English.
But fine, you're going to go back to the stuff that when Jim Crow laws were still around, the books written then used words we don't use today, and I think that there's an issue there for society as a whole. There's another interest in society, as Leo says. And the model training is not reuse itself. It doesn't remember it. It just maps it.
You can train models, though, with less data. I mean,
yes,
so if we're talking about training a model... Oh, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
You're hitting on what I was thinking about with the Sarah Silverman discussion, because I'm pretty sure that the AI grabbed it from some pirated website, more than likely, right? So is it possible?
Or it could have, you know what?
Or somebody pointed this out on Good Morning America.
Somebody pointed this out on Sunday, that it could just be a summary of all the other reviews and
the
summaries.
People that legitimately read it.
Maybe it didn't read her book, but it's just summarizing everybody else's summary.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an example of what it does, right? I can read the book and I can write a review. I'm perfectly within my rights to absorb her book and write that. So why shouldn't this AI have the same right? And by the way, the irony here is that so far the courts have given the products of AI no protection.
I'm Jason Howell. How do you thank your hardworking team? Well, with a Club TWiT corporate subscription, of course. You can show your appreciation and reward your tech team with a subscription to Club TWiT, and that way they'll be informed and entertained with podcasts covering the latest in technology. With a Club TWiT subscription, they're going to get access to all of our podcasts ad-free, the members-only Discord, exclusive outtakes, behind-the-scenes and special content, and exclusive shows like Hands on Mac, Hands on Windows, and the Untitled Linux Show. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit and look for corporate plans for complete details.